welcome to our first annual graduation ceremony for our IB students, class of 2015. I'd like to start off the evening by welcoming Mr. Howard Walt, who is the president of our school board.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful and safe holiday season. Tonight, I'm joined by my board colleagues, Jessica Cummings and Terry Johnson. Let me remind most and inform some how we got here to celebrate the first ever International Baccalaureate High School graduates of Farmington Public Schools. In the 1990s, Farmington joined a consortium of Oakland County schools that participated in the IB program at the Bloomfield Hills School known as the International Academy. While in that program, we were allocated 15 spots in 9th through 12th grades for a maximum of 60 students. In 2008-9, the board directed the administration to investigate establishing our own IB program right here in Farmington. We are joined tonight by former board members Frank Reed and Priscilla Briette, who were instrumental in initiating the district's investigation into having an IB program here. Although we did receive a recommendation from the committee to establish a K-12 IB program, the board felt that we could not afford to do so because of cuts from Lansing to public education that simply made it too risky. What we did do, however, was direct administration to return to us with a scaled-down plan for an IB program only at the high school level. Ultimately, that plan was approved, but not without some controversy, and the Harrison High School IB program was born. In the 4 years since the program was established, we've trained dozens of teachers in the IB methodology, and to a person, each one of them with whom I have spoken has reported it was the best professional development that they have ever received in their career. Our program has grown so that we now have a total of over 300 students between 9th and 12th grade in the IB program, and many others taking IB classes as they are interested and available. We are therefore serving 3 to 4 times the number of students we were able to send to the International Academy in Bloomfield Hills. And most importantly, the IB diploma graduates from Farmington did so well that they and their parents have saved literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in college tuition and other expenses, which I know makes them all very happy. In 1989, Kevin Costner starred in the movie Field of Dreams, a movie about baseball and the infamous shoeless Joe Jackson that made the phrase, "If you build it, they will come," famous. And so it is with the Harrison High School IB program. Kudos therefore go to the administrators and board members who had the vision and the courage to provide this choice to our community. Congratulations to our graduates and their families. We look forward to all of you having a wonderful 2016. Thank you.
It is now my distinct honor to invite our state representative, Christine Grape, to the podium. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. I can't read. Dr. Height. Also distinct honor.
Well, good evening, everyone. What a great night to celebrate, and what a great group of students and families to celebrate with. I just want to thank you for sticking with us. I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to create this program and have you kind of be the pioneers forward. and show us how to make this work better for all of our students in Farmington Public Schools. And as Mr. Wallach, the president, said, and on behalf of all the Board of Education and everybody else associated with Farmington Public Schools, we are extremely proud of you. We're extremely proud of the group here at Harrison High School that's put all of this together and made all these wonderful things happen. And I, for one, am grateful you're actually giving up a night as a college student to come back and celebrate with us. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Now it is my distinct honor to welcome to the podium Ms. Christine Gregg, our state representative. Thank you.
Good evening. On behalf of the state of Michigan, congratulations, graduates. It's a privilege to be here to participate in tonight's celebration. The community is very proud of your accomplishments. You are trailblazers, risk takers, because you seized the opportunity to be a member of the very first IB class at Farmington Public Schools. Many others will benefit from your foresight and dedication. An IB education has positioned you well for success in the world. You have developed intercultural understanding and respect, not as an elective, but as an integral part of life. You are the embodiment of the IB mission to create a better world through education. You know that you must take action to make the world better for everyone. I have one request of you. I wouldn't be doing my job as a politician unless I ask this. Please vote. Your IB education has prepared you well for being a global citizen. Voting puts that into action. Voting shapes the kind of community, state, country, and world we live in. Again, congratulations on your achievement. It's time to put this education into action at home, at college, and in the community. We are so glad that you are our future. Thank you.
And now I'd like to welcome Mr. Jim Anderson, who's the new principal of Harrison High School this year.
Thank you. A little nervous up here in front of all of you guys. My name is James Anderson. I am the new principal here at Harrison, as Dr. Boschner said. And for many of you, I did not get the honor of working with you, but I do see some familiar gladiators out there who have much older faces. But I remember back when you guys were at Power many, many years ago. So I'm glad to see all of you are doing such great things. I would like to before I start, take a moment to introduce and thank some of our teachers that are here today. Back there in the fourth row, I've got some people. I've got Mrs. Mrs. Saxma is here. Mr. Russell. Mrs. Sturdy. Mrs. Landis. Ms. Leboy. And of course, Mrs. Palmer, Mrs. Leach, and Dr. Boschner. All of us are here. Mrs. Kowalski, IB is new this year, and she has taken over the role as the IB counselor. And she was outside setting up. I think she's still out there right now. But I also want to thank our quartet here who was playing for us when we came in. And that's some of our current IB students and one Farmington High student. So please help us by thanking Rosie Burns-Pavlik, Amanda Devine, who's from Farmington High, Anushka Jane, and Maddie Carpenter-Crawford. So I heard it said in one of the earlier speeches, I'm not sure if you fully realize your impact that you had on this school and on this district. But you were the first, you know that. And you know that you've added to a strong and rich history at Harrison High School. Some of your most notable accomplishments include you were offered close to $4 million in total scholarships. Your average ACT scores was a 27, and over 25% of you scored over a 30. You made up one of the largest graduating classes in the state for an IB program that was housed within a comprehensive high school. And this is most importantly, you set a new bar for Hawk Pride when it comes to academics, athletics, and other extracurricular activities. There is a group of students that are trying to outdo you right now. And you set the bar so high that I get the pleasure of working with them every day. They are really trying hard, and like I said, you really set the bar. So congratulations. You guys should be very, very proud of yourselves. I am excited to see what you guys will do in the future. And best of luck. Congratulations. Now, without further ado, I am going to introduce Dr. Bashir and Mrs. Palmer, who are going to pass out the IB diplomas and certificates.
We had a couple late hands to give us just. I will tell you, I could not be more proud.
Don't start. How long was that? Go for 10 seconds.
What a phenomenal group of students. Just a phenomenal group. Couldn't be more proud. We'd like to dig. For those that may not know, the students get 2 diplomas. They get their Farmington Public Schools diploma, which they got last June. But these students do not hear the results of their IB exams until July 5th, which was a very excruciating time for all of us in the waiting game. Our students, every one of our students, whether they were diploma or certificate students or individual course students, earned, I believe, college credit, which at least paid for that exam. We've had some students that, with the combination of AP tests that they took, IB exams, college courses, we had one student that started college with 55 college credits. But the average college credit that I think students received is around 21 to 25. Just think about the dollar amount associated with that. It's pretty amazing. So they worked really hard. My son has an IB diploma, and I had to apologize to him because those 3 weeks in May, when they had to take those exams, was grueling. So I think college, and you'll hear from some of our graduates in a few minutes, is more of a piece of cake, for the most part. So anyway, obviously we couldn't get everybody here because exams, getting back, etc. But we got thank you for able to come. So if you'd like to come forward, as I call on your name, we'll give you your folder with your diplomas and certificates. So, you want to stand up? You first row, stand up. We have Veronica Foley. Okay, all right. Michael Rowe. One of my favorite names to say, Marisha Chapalamadugu. Couldn't be here, but Josh was on this year. I cut him on this stage. Diana Wilner. Soumya Gupta. Aaron Kearns. Xavier Jones. Jessica Corey. That's my mom. Elijah Sanders. Jordan Scripter. Oh, I forgot Kate Chris. Her parents are here too. She had to go back to school today. Michael Boyano. Emily Washington. Crystal Wilson. Allie Summerville. Leah Petrin. Let's give another round of applause to the great. We now have this year 2 new inductees into the Academic Hall of Fame. And to present those honors, I will give you Mrs. Leach.
Congratulations. Beginning in 2009, Harrison High School deemed it important to honor our outstanding academic achievements of its graduates, just as they have their outstanding athletes. Thus, the Academic Hall of Fame was born. It is housed in the Media Center under the mural of some of the greatest thinkers and leaders that our world has ever known, including Socrates, Martin Luther King, Albert Einstein, and Rosa Parks, just to name a few. In the past 7 years, just 10 students have met the extremely rigorous criteria that would merit their inclusion. Graduates must attain 3 of the following 4 requirements. First, a 4.0 perfect GPA, cumulative. Secondly, National Merit Scholar, commended or semifinalist student. A score of 34 or higher on the the ACT or the SAT equivalent. And fourth, an AP Scholar, which means you have a score of 5 on at least 4 different AP exams, or an IB diploma student with a 6 or a 7 on 3 high-level IB exams, or any student who takes a combination of 3 IB or AP courses and receives the highest, a 6 or a 7 on the IB test or a 5 on the AP test. So you can see those criteria are they are set extremely high, and that is why so few students have met. So if my math is correct, there have been approximately about 2,000 graduates from Harrison in these 7 years. And we are adding just 2 new students, so a total of 12 who have qualified for our Academic Hall of Fame. The inductees that we're honoring tonight will be invited back on June 9th of this year to receive your award at our Senior Honors Night. So on behalf of the staff and administration of Harrison High School, it is my honor to give certificates to these 2 students who will be inducted into our Hall of Fame. Inductees, come on up and get your certificate. So tonight we are honoring Catherine Chris, who is not here tonight, but she is represented by her parents, and Saswat Sahu. Congratulations.
invited our current students and parents because I really am so glad to see so many of you here, because I really want you to hear from our graduates, right from the horse's mouth. I could talk about how hopefully prepared it makes you for college, et cetera, but to hear from our first graduating class I think is really important. So we have a number of students, not too many, but a number of students that are going to share their thoughts about the program and how it prepared them for college. They have some advice for our current students and advice for parents. So I'd like to start off with Veronica Boley, who's at Aquinas College.
I think the biggest thing IB did to prepare me for college is help me realize that you can do it. Even when you have 3 essays due on one day with the test thrown into the mix, and you think you can't possibly get anything done on time, you have the knowledge of knowing that you've done it before and it's not impossible. Especially knowing that in college, at least for me, I've had way more free time than I ever did in high school. This also then ties into automatically putting forth your best effort into everything you do. Because of the high expectations IB had of us, submitting less than hard work wasn't really an option. And you knew that when you tried handing off something as your best when it wasn't, what you got out of the assignment, and I'm not talking about grade-wise, was going to reflect that. So IB taught me how to have pride in my work and know that I'm capable of accomplishing almost anything. So this is my advice to current students. Don't BS your work. And I'm going to repeat, do not BS your work. In the end, when exams come around, you're going to be sitting in the exam room, looking at a question, and you'll know exactly what assignment, lesson, or chapter the question came from, and you'll think, oh man, I wish I had actually paid attention in class. This goes way beyond good grades and getting your IB diploma or certificate. It speaks for your work ethic and your dedication and the way in which you approach your learning. You can't BS assignments in colleges. In college, your professor will see right through that, and even if you don't, you'll realize once you finish the class, which you and your parents are paying ridiculous amounts of money for, that you know you learned something, but you don't know what that something is. This applies to high school. Start owning your work now, while you're not having to pay ridiculous amounts of money for classes and textbooks. By owning your work and actually doing the work, you're going to encounter this amazing concept called learning. And you're going to start being able to connect to the, you're going to be able to start connecting the material to the world around you. You'll find amazing connections. And on top of that, you'll start being proud of your work, and in return, you'll be proud of yourself. To parents, IB by far is not a cakewalk, not that you expected it to be. Please be supportive of your child. They're not going to earn all A's on every assignment in every class, and that's okay. I promise you they're still learning the material, and they're still going to be successful in life. When your child comes home with a grade they're not happy with, whether that's a B, C, or D, don't make them feel stupid or like they're the biggest disappointment in the world. Trust me when I say this, they're beating themselves up more and harder than anyone else ever could. Encourage them and tell them you still believe in them, because most of the time that's all a student needs to hear. That their parents aren't going to kill them, and that you're still proud of them, and you still believe in them. So this next thing is something I'm really passionate about, and it's mental health. Mental health in students is so, so important. It affects how well your child does in school and in life. So pay attention to your child's emotions and talk to them when you feel something is off. Sometimes this means that like pulling your child away from their homework, especially on weekends, and making them do something that doesn't require much thought. They're going to feel overwhelmed often, and they need to know that they have people behind them. Lastly, encourage, if not strongly push, your child into having a social life. Let them hang out with their friends. They need a good balance between school and social life. Encourage them to join sports and clubs. It is possible to manage.
Who's at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor.
Thank you, Veronica. And thank you to everyone here who is here to celebrate the triumphs that we have accomplished. Supporting IB is a sentiment shared amongst IB students, IB parents, and IB teachers, and everyone who contributes to this program that teaches us to be scholarly and internationally minded members of society. First, I would like to address the current and future students of IB. This program you are part of may not seem like much while you're part of it. You may think it's just icing on a college application, and maybe it is a little icing on a college application, but it's truly a lot more than that. And no, I'm not just speaking about the IB Learner profile and the mission statement that have already been preached to you. I'm talking about the thousands of dollars that can be saved from taking this program seriously and placing out of many first-year requirements in college. Trust me, you want to be on your parents' good side. In college, this is how you do it. And now, for the parents and other supporters of IB, your role in the success of this program is crucial. The students, your children, are very capable, having memorized the meanings of a variety of acronyms: IB, IA, IO, IOP, IOC, TOK, EE, and Brickport? Yeah, Brickport, that's one. What I mean to say is that your child is very intelligent and has been given the resources needed to succeed. Your role is usually simpler than you make it out to be. Just be the love and support needed in times of struggle. Trust them to make their own decisions, because that's all they will be doing later on. And never stop reminding them that family can be where they turn for help. That's what you're here for. In college now, I find myself experiencing a very different world. Suddenly, opportunities have become much more specific. Suddenly, my studies have become much more job-oriented. And suddenly, I have to worry about having a wet load of laundry when the dryer doesn't accept my money. It's almost as if I'm supposed to be a full-functioning adult by the age of 18. Who knew? The gap between high school and college is huge. And in terms of studying, however, the rigor of IB has made college manageable. Regardless of your major, liberal arts, science, engineering, whatever you do, writing is something no student can avoid. And if you're in IB, writing is an everyday thing. So with the IB experience under my belt, a 7 to 10 page essay almost feels like normal homework, but it's like a final paper in college sometimes. And it's not just the academics. My pursuit to become an internationally minded person may have started in IB, but is certainly extended because of this as well. This spring break, I will be spending it in Peru, assisting medical professionals in their respective clinics and researching the health disparities that exist. In the summer, I will travel to Guatemala to research health solutions that from previously researched disparities. And as a freshman, it's really hard to get these opportunities, which I would not have been able to receive without IB, and without the training from the IB trips to Dominican Republic, where I first learned the meaning of international communication and service and how important it is to our world. So IB isn't just about the essays, presentations, lab reports, chemistry tests. It's about the students and educating them about the world that exists around them. Once again, I thank you all for being here to support the results of that program. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Abhijay Kumar, who is at Johns Hopkins.
Ooh, the laundry struggle is so real, you don't even know. Hello, my name is Abhi. I'm a freshman at Johns Hopkins University. And I'm definitely not going to be as well versed as my friends over here, so thanks guys. Totally put me on the spot there. But I do want to talk about what I got from the IB program, specifically 3 components. Academic rigor, life skills, and the real world experience. So anytime you hear like IB, you always think of this one word that's known as rigor. I always hear everywhere I go, even in college. It's funny, it keeps following me around. And the cool thing about IB is that it is a very rigorous program. And for me, I'm a very big picture person, so it's very hard for me to just kind of identify and classify my different kinds of rigor. And IB does that for you in a nice structure by sectioning off your 6 different learning areas with your extended essay monograph, along with TOK in the form of an essay and a presentation. Specifically, the extended essay really enhances your writing skills I mean, I never thought by the end of high school I'd be able to write a 4,000 word, huge manuscript. Like, that's ridiculous. But, I mean, now in college when I have to write like a 6-page assignment, it's like, super easy. And then just, theory of knowledge. It's interesting that everywhere you go, you just start to think about, why does someone do this? How do I know what I know? I see this next month. So literally, IB follows you everywhere you go. And specifically with life skills, I'm sure everyone will agree with what I'm about to say, but you have to be organized when you're doing the IB program. And this follows you even into college. The fun thing about college is that it's a very liberal schedule, in the sense that you could have morning classes, afternoon classes, or a mix of everything, but you often find yourself with a lot of open chunks of time where you don't really know what you want to do. I want to watch Netflix, but that doesn't always work. So you have to be organized, and you need to figure out what you want to do with this time, and you have to be proactive, and you can't procrastinate all the time. So sometimes you just can't watch Orange is the New Black. And so what's really important that I learned through the IB program and that too in college is that you have to set priorities. And sometimes that means you're going to have to make sacrifices. For example, I remember last year during the homecoming weekend, I had to study for my SAT subject tests, and it was the same day as the homecoming dance. So I was studying the night before that Friday, and I was like, wow, I really want to go to this homecoming game, but I guess I'm going to have to not go to the last homecoming football game of my high school career to study for these exams. And along with this, I had to work on my IAs and my extended essay, and it was just a huge wave of just stress. But after figuring out that that was my priority and that was what was important for me, I did really well on my subject tests, and I got to go to the dance. So really, it's just about deciding what you think is important for you and then just kind of forgetting about the rest. With that said, do not sacrifice very important things, like food, especially, or sleep, or relaxing, or spending time with friends and family. And finally, the real world experience. If you know anything about me, you know I'm very involved and very passionate about race relations and diversity work. And so coming from a place, Farmington Hills, it's my home, And everyone here is very open-minded and very globally minded. And so I find myself maybe too lucky when I go to other places and people aren't exactly the same. For example, just the other day, I was just sitting in my friend's room and we were just talking about like Turkish coffee or something. And this individual walks into the room and looks at me and he's like, wow, you don't sound like an Indian for being an Indian. And I could have gone off on him. Another day, one day. But I decided I'm better off just asking him, hey, like, where are you getting this idea from? Where are you coming from? And just learning more about his opinion and his stance. I also met a Donald Trump supporter, but that's a story for another day. So the IB program really teaches you and inculcates within you how to receive other opinions and other viewpoints, learning about where other people come from, and then in one way or another, figuring out how to produce an appropriate response to it and asking further questions to expand your knowledge. So my advice for students is, well, for prospective students, if you're interested in doing the program, A, you have to be really excited about academically challenging yourself, and that to engaging yourself in very intellectually stimulating conversation. If you don't think that's interesting for you and you don't want to jump at that opportunity, then perhaps IB is not for you. But if you are like any of us nerds here sitting in the audience, then you should definitely do it. And for current students that are seniors and juniors, are there seniors and juniors here? Yeah. Raise your hand, yeah? Yes. Okay, I know, y'all are writing struggle bus right now. Just know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're gonna hate yourself for the next couple months, but that's okay, because once you walk out of your last exams in May, you're just gonna feel a lot of triumph and a lot of excitement, and you're gonna know that success is coming your way. Again, prioritize your time, know what's important, food and sleep, and movies on the occasion, Netflix maybe. And just, right now I would start to familiarize yourself with like practice exams. I know I wish I could have done more during my winter break, but I was really bogged down with IAs, extended essay, and college apps. But spring break is like the best time to study. And I remember studying with Deanna and Monica for like biology, psychology, and chemistry, and we spent just days on end studying together. And then we'd go to the park for like 30 minutes and then come back. So You know, something like that. So make sure you study a lot. And then advice for parents, make sure you're there to support your student with whatever they need. So again, for me, it was food and movie time. Yes. You can help your student to remember different deadlines and, you know, ultimately guide them, but at the end of the day, make sure your student decides what they want to do for themselves. Like Veronica mentioned, the student's the person that's the most stressed, and they're going to be their biggest enemies, I guess. So you want to make sure that you're there first as their parent and their friend, be their therapist. Sometimes if they just want to vent, just be there and be like, I know, it's an essay, it's annoying, I got you. But other days you got to be their motivator. You really have to push them to be the best person that they can be. So with that said, thank you.
Our next speaker is Margaret Morogi, who's attending Oakland University.
Okay, so for all of the previous speakers that spoke so much about studying, especially you, Abby, good for you. Especially so much in advance, good for you. That was very good of you. I could list off all the things that IB has prepared me for. I could say that I was accepted to every university I applied for. I was admitted to the Honors College at my school. I have 44 credits right now, and I'm not paying for school due to scholarship. So I could list off a bunch of things that IB has done for me. But instead, I will tell you more about my experiences at college and just how, you'll see how much you'll see the part I played. So my first college course was a 10-person honors college course on global health, and I was one of the only freshmen in the class. So walking in, I was really, really scared because first class, freshman year, no one else is my age. So when I walked in, I was really scared, and then I walked in, and everyone else was at the same level as me. And I realized that I was at the same level as these upperclassmen because of the amazing work, not only that I did myself, but my fellow students did and that my teachers did, thank you, in preparing me for college. And it happened on a weekend, and I had an English essay due, one of my only gen eds that I had left to take. I procrastinated. We had it 3 weeks in advance, and I said, you know what, that's no problem. I'll just do it on the weekend it's due. And then so Friday passed, and then Saturday passed, and then Sunday passed, and it was due Monday at noon. So it was 6 a.m. on Sunday night, and I started the essay. And it ended up being 5,000 words. And I took a look at it, and I was like, this is my entire extended essay, plus 1,000 words. And, you know, all my teachers know that I was an epic procrastinator. I see the stacks in his face right now. I was really bad. And one thing that I really prepared me for is that it was so academically rigorous that it taught me how to produce quality work even when I had no choice. And that's something I will always be grateful for. Now, to the current students, good luck. You will make it. I promise. College is incredibly stressful. There's no doubt about it. You don't have bells to get you to your classes. You don't have parents to remind you to eat breakfast, and you don't have parents to wake you up when you miss your alarm. You hold the responsibility of balance, and that's one thing that I didn't really have in high school. I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and that was it. And one thing my parents did is that they kept me on track and they kept me having fun. So I might sound like a typical college student when I say this, but have fun. You guys do so much work, and you're some of the brightest minds in the city, the state, I would say the world, because it's an international program. You are so bright. Don't ever underestimate yourself, and just know that you're meant to do great things, but also don't feel bad when you hit next episode on Netflix. It's okay. And my advice to parents kind of goes in the same way. I encourage you to let your students go a little bit, because I taught 5 students my first week of college how to wash their clothes. And it was really sad. So please let your students encourage them to have fun. Because when you throw them in an environment, even if the coursework is easier compared to IB, when you throw them in an environment where they have to do all these things themselves, sometimes they can't. So teach them how to do it now instead of when they have 3 essays and a test, like Veronica said. So that's all I have to say. Just really have fun. You guys are so bright. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
And our next speaker is Dimitri Preslowski, who's at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor.
It's so exciting to be back. Like I just want to spend like the rest of the night like talking to everyone here and like giving hugs and everything. It's really exciting. Also, I'm like not as practiced as the other speakers before me. Okay, so how the IB program prepared me for college. First, class-wise, IB really is a college level coursework and course load, and you don't even realize how the different classes will work into your college classes. I took an Intro to Linguistics class, and we started talking about the muscles in the throat, and I immediately thought back to sports exercise health science, which really doesn't have anything to do with linguistics. And in that class, we learned about all the different muscles in the throat, the pharynx and larynx, and I thought back to Miss Gabrielli. And so it's really amazing how the different classes help you prepare for the classes in college. And being honest, I feel like my first semester at Michigan was a lot easier than my senior year at Harrison, and a lot of everyone was nodding their head, yeah. It really prepares you with the course load and how to prepare yourself and organize your time. Also, the exam process really helps as well. I know Dr. Bashi was just telling us how grueling it is and how many different exams you have to take in such a short period of time. I remember I was counting the number of pages I wrote in essays, and it was like up to 45 to 50 pages within 2.5 weeks. But that really helps prepare you for college, because one of my first exams, I had 50 minutes to write 2 essays and do 30 multiple choice questions. It honestly wasn't, I wasn't even stressed out about the time at all. I finished perfect time because of the IB testing schedule. So that does help in the end, even though in that time it kind of sucks. Also, I think all of my peers would agree that you don't realize how blessed we were to go to Harrison until you get to college. I know one thing about Michigan is you hear how it's a culture shock. My mom went there, my aunt went there, and they talked about how they've never seen so many different types of people. And there's just huge diversity that you've never seen before. And I can honestly say when I got to Michigan, I was very underwhelmed. And that's because of what I experienced here at Harrison. I have a good quote from the great Mr. Meisner, who said on Facebook, "A Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, a Hindu, a Jain, and an atheist walk into a classroom. There's no punchline, that's every day at Harrison." And it's so true, because you experience all types of different people, and you have to work with all types of different people here at Harrison. It's just like the real world and what you see at college. And it's prepared me, and honestly, it's put me ahead of my peers at Michigan. One of the reasons why I couldn't practice my speech and I was a bit late today is I got a community assistant position in one of the dorms at Michigan, which is kind of rare for a freshman. Usually freshmen, they don't offer these positions for the second term. They wait till they're a sophomore. And the reason is because I was so used to working with different types of people and communities and such diversity
that it put me ahead of my peers who come from different places that aren't as diverse as Harrison, and they're not used to that type of environment. And it's becoming a much bigger issue in the real world. Mark Schlissel, the University of Michigan president, put diversity as his #1 priority and concern. All right, moving on to advice to current students. First of all, do your extended essays and IAs on time and on your deadlines. It was a struggle for all of us, but it makes your life a lot easier, so just do that. And I think the biggest point is just to enjoy high school. There's so much that Harrison has to offer, and don't get caught up in the IB stigma that it destroys your social life and that you have to stay at home and study all the time and can't go out and have fun. All of your high school memories that are the best are going to be going to football games, going to prom, running cross country, doing all different types of sports. Once you get to college, again, join a whole bunch of clubs and do a bunch of different things, just like in high school, and it makes your life so much more fun and enjoyable. And there's just so much here that Harrison offers that you have to branch out to really get the best high school experience. You have to branch out and join all these different clubs and just have fun. I miss the awkward dances that you don't want to go to, but you look back and it was interesting. It was fun. Also, once you graduate, keep in contact with your teachers. It's so great to see everyone. Add them on Facebook. One of the greatest decisions in my life was adding Miss Sturdy on Facebook. And it's great. And I honestly, I want to get Mr. Russell's wiki, because I'm taking psych classes now, and it probably has more on it than the class has to offer. Also, always support each other. I think that's something that our class did amazingly well. Everyone here, when I walked in, I just wanted to give everyone a hug and talk to them and see how their lives are doing and how everyone is. And it's one of the amazing things about IB is if you all care for each other and work through the stress together, it's an amazing what environment you can create. And then advice to parents. Learn about IB with an open mind. I know there's a bunch of rumors about everything with parents talking to each other, even kids. Go look up on the websites and look at things for yourself and talk to your kid about what IB is if they want to do it. Also, be involved. Make sure your kids are keeping up with their classes and being proactive with extended essay and IAs. Check on their grades. Also, probably most importantly, check on their mental health and make sure that they are doing fine. And don't add more stress to them. Support them no matter what. The last thing that I know, at least for junior year, that they need is pressure about colleges and other sorts of stress that they don't need on top of the workload with IB. Just be very supportive and yeah, cool. Thank you.
Our next to the last speaker is Jordan Scrimcher, who's at Central Michigan University.
As Dr. B said, I am Jordan, and I am from Central Michigan University, and I am in the honors program there. So being in such high-stakes competitive group of peers, there are many similarities within the ways we engaged ourselves in our high schools and within our communities. We all got extremely involved in volunteer projects, in organizations, and clubs within our schools. We also pulled high grades and came into CMU with some sort of college credit, whether that be through dual enrollment, AP classes, or even other IB students. But the largest distinction I noticed with IB, those of us who came in with IB credit and did the IB program, is the critical thinking component and the ability to write lengthy, intricate papers. Within the honors program, first-year students have to enroll in an honors seminar. And these range on various different topics. Some of them are about the consciousness of animals and what do we owe them. Some of them are about monsters throughout literature and American history and what that signifies about our culture. And then my honors seminar, which was about the perils of American democracy. In these classes, we are constantly analyzing these ideas and questions. The IB curriculum, and especially theory of knowledge, have been large reasons why I enjoy exploring these large ideas and grappling with them, because as most people know, I'm not a big picture kind of person. I like details and orientation. But the last difference I have also noticed about IB is the ability to engage in research as a freshman. Participating in research is one of the true purposes of the institution of a university. There are professors and students in the top of their fields solving problems and gathering data. The extended essay and IAs I had to write in my different IB subject classes have prepared me to engage with professors in my major and get involved with research projects and develop faculty relationships that will ultimately help me with my senior capstone project. So, for students in the IB program currently, I would like to extend a sentiment of solidarity. I remember how busy the end of senior year was for me. Senior year of high school is considered a blow-off by many, or a very easy year, but this could not be farther from the truth for what it was for me. I know nowadays I have a lot more free time than I used to in my senior year of high school, so it gets better. It was a challenging and stressful time, but when it was over, it felt so rewarding to have accomplished and completed all that I did. I remember vividly walking out of my last exam, which was a history exam, and coming right here to take pictures because it was the last day of school, and it was the best feeling I've ever had in my entire life. If I am ever feeling overwhelmed, I have a folder on my computer labeled IB documents, and I can pull up my history IA or my extended essay and read it through just to remind myself that, yeah, I did write a 4,000 word paper, and yeah, I can probably do it again if I feel motivated enough. The experience of the IB program is so unique, you'll be able to share that with other IB alumni in college that you find. The first couple of friends I found and made were also IB graduates. We were able to commiserate about the extended essay and like what we did, our different classes in the different subjects and whatnot, and picking our different research questions and everything. But as a former IB student, I also remember not only the successes that I had completed, but the weekends of locking myself in my room to make progress on my extended essay or my IAs. This resulted in a couple of very antisocial days and weeks and months. My advice to parents would be to cut their children a little bit of slack. For me, when I have a deadline looming, I tend to force myself to do it all at once. I don't like sitting down and putting it in little increments and pushing it off till later. I literally want to accomplish it that minute. So it results in me wanting to do it right then, right there. And so there will be days when your child is more stressed and thus maybe be more easily angered or annoyed, but the best way to deal with this is just to be understanding for the underlying reasons of my behavior, or their behavior. My parents were always supportive of what I was trying to accomplish and never tried to push me more than I can handle, and for me, this was the best thing they could have done. So congratulations to the class of 2016, because it's going to be worth it. Yay.
Final speaker, certainly not last but not least, I guess, Emily Washington from Michigan State University.
How's everyone doing? Okay, hello everyone. My name is Emily Washington, and before I speak, I'd like to thank all of my teachers. I know this is a new program for everyone, and I was thinking about it earlier today, how much work you guys put in to just our success, so thank you so much. So the IB program has prepared me for college by changing my work ethic. And my work ethic in the IB program changed around the end, unfortunately, but luckily this has paid off in college. I'm doing pretty well. And as Veronica said, it's the same for me, where everything seems more doable, and I believe that I can do anything academically. And this mindset is crucial for college students because it's completely different than high school. But luckily with the IB program, you're used to like a rigorous course load, but I'm really happy that I don't mind having to do work anymore. So my advice to give to current students. So for students joining IB and current students, I'd like to say that it is possible to take part in other things, and it's very important to know that the student next to you might study for a test for 30 minutes, and you might have to study for like 4 hours, but that's okay, because every student's different. And I know in freshman year of college, it's a shock to most students because someone sitting right next to you could be studying, well, barely studying, just flying through the course. Well, it might take you a little more time. I know I'm that kind of person where it takes me a lot to get a 4-point in a class, especially if it's like a STEM class. But just know you can do it, and it's okay that it takes you longer, and it's okay that it might take you a shorter time. It just depends who you are. Each student's different. Secondly, stop being so competitive. I know, like, we're in that mentality in the IB program, especially since this is a new program, that we have to be competitive with each other, because it's that mentality where we're competing with everyone around the world. But one of my first friends in college, she was actually in the IB program in Thailand. And we bonded over like the IB HL bio test. And it was just really cool talking to her. But then I saw that it made me realize that IB is much bigger than your classroom. The competition, that whole entire mindset with this person sitting next to you is completely unnecessary. And simply gloating about a test score to someone who clearly didn't do that well, it's not going to benefit anyone. It just makes it very hostile. And like Dimitri said, it's great to build each other up, especially since this is a new program. And you know, we're just all trying to get through this together. It's best to build each other up, because it's just unnecessary to put each other down or try to outshine each other, because it's much bigger than your classroom. And thirdly, it's a choice to struggle in IB. And so, for example, while you're tweeting about this long paper your teacher assigned, you could actually be writing it. And I'm guilty of doing this too. I'm guilty of saying, and that stigma Dimitri mentioned, where it's just like, oh, IB is so hard, I'm so stressed out. But it's a choice to be that way. You really don't have to be that way. And yeah, it's just that whole entire stigma that could get to your head, so make sure it doesn't. Now going into college, when people say, oh, this class is super stressful, for a lot of students, I know a lot of students, it's really not stressful, it's a stigma, and it's that mentality that it is. So just don't let that get to you. And also for time management, just try to finish homework during your school day, maybe like during lunch, or if you have a free hour, that's a perfect time to finish homework or study for an exam. It's like a few weeks ahead. Just trying to, you know, open up your evenings. That way it's a little easier for you. I'm also guilty of procrastinating, but that has improved thanks to IB. And lastly, take advantage of everything Harrison has to offer, because this is your senior year for a lot of you. And I mean, you'd want to look back on your senior year and think, wow, that was a great time. Like, I loved Harrison. Not, oh, I was so stressed out, you know? And never take yourselves too seriously. And so for my advice for parents, parents, you should know that you shouldn't be too hard on your students, and know that IB is not going to force your child to manage their time. It's up to them to manage their time. The child's going to be put into a situation where it's crucial to manage their time, and they really should, but it's up to your kid to make those decisions. And just with the different directions your child could be pulled in, it's best that you're just supportive. Even if it's simply making a meal. My mother always had dinner ready at night. There she is, in the red. I'm calling you out. But she would have dinner ready. And just doing things like that just makes it so much easier for the student, just knowing, like, I can eat. And because it's so easy to forget simple needs, like sleeping, eating. And yeah, so parents, just know that it's up to your child to make great decisions, the best decisions for them, like going along with IB. And yeah, and let your child go to the football game. Let them hang out with their friends once in a while. If you see them doing it too often, then you could kind of be like, Billy, come on, gotta focus. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for everything, Dr. B. You are like our biggest cheerleader, one of our biggest cheerleaders.
It's all worth it. Anyway, this class this senior class probably, and I think Mrs. Leach would agree, probably elevated the level of activity, programs that this building has ever seen. An awesome group on our student boards, etc. Yes, you're going to go down in history as our first graduating class, and we couldn't be more proud. You certainly have set the bar high for y'all, the rest of you to follow. You can do it. I dedicated my doctoral dissertation to my parents with the quote, "There are two lasting things that we can leave our children. One is roots, and the other is wings." With the tremendous support of these amazing, amazing teachers, amazing parents, the dedication of our amazing students, you all have strong roots, and you all indeed have earned your wings, and you are now flying on your own. So I thank you all for coming. Please join us outside for some refreshments, talk with our graduates. Thank you for coming and safe trip home.